Have you ever wondered why one person pulls away when a relationship gets closer, while another person holds on even tighter? Sometimes these reactions look completely different, but they can come from the same basic human need, the need to feel safe in connection. Fear of intimacy and clinging are not just relationship problems. They are often protective patterns. In this video, we will look at why they happen, what they mean, and how to understand them in a healthier way. Welcome to Love for Beginners. Today, we're exploring a question that stands behind almost every human experience. Why some fear intimacy and others cling? And what happens when this part of life becomes confusing, missing, or difficult to understand? Let's get into it. When people talk about intimacy, they often think only about romance. But intimacy is much wider than that. Emotional intimacy means allowing another person to know you more honestly. It includes trust, vulnerability, communication, care, and the ability to feel close without losing yourself. For some people, this kind of closeness feels comforting. For others, it feels unsafe, overwhelming, or difficult to handle. This is why two people can react to love in very different ways. One person may feel afraid when someone gets emotionally close. They may need space, avoid deep conversations, or feel uncomfortable when the relationship becomes serious. Another person may feel anxious when there is distance. They may need constant reassurance, worry about being left, or feel unsettled when the other person is not immediately available. These patterns look opposite, but both are often attempts to manage fear. The fear of intimacy is not always a fear of love itself. Many people who fear intimacy still want connection. They may want to be understood, cared for, and chosen. But when closeness becomes real, it can bring up discomfort. Being seen deeply can feel risky. Needing someone can feel dangerous. Trusting another person can feel like losing control. So the person protects themselves by creating distance before they feel too exposed. Clinging, on the other hand, often comes from fear of losing connection. A person who clings may not be trying to control someone. They may be trying to calm an inner fear that the relationship could disappear. When the other person becomes quiet, busy, or emotionally unavailable, the fear grows. The person may ask for reassurance, check for signs of rejection, or try to stay very close. The behavior may look intense, but underneath it is often a wish to feel safe. Attachment theory helps explain these patterns in a simple way. Early relationships can teach people what to expect from closeness. If care was consistent and emotionally available, a person may grow up feeling that connection can be safe. If care was unpredictable, distant, or confusing, a person may learn to stay alert. Some learn to reach harder for connection. Others learn not to need too much. These early lessons can later appear in friendships, dating, and romantic relationships. It is important to say that attachment patterns are not permanent labels. They are not insults, and they are not diagnoses. They are ways people may learn to protect themselves. A person can have anxious reactions in one stage of life and become more secure later. A person can avoid closeness because of past experiences and still learn to trust. Human beings are capable of growth, especially when they begin to understand their own patterns. People who fear intimacy often value independence. Independence can be healthy. Everyone needs personal space, boundaries, and a sense of self. The problem begins when independence becomes a shield against all emotional closeness. A person may say, "I do not need anyone," when what they really mean is, "I do not feel safe needing anyone." They may pull away not because the relationship is wrong, but because vulnerability feels unfamiliar. People who cling often value connection. Connection is also healthy. Everyone needs care, attention, and emotional support. The problem begins when connection becomes the only way a person feels safe. If someone feels calm only when the other person is constantly available, the relationship can become heavy. The person may start depending on the relationship to regulate every fear, every doubt, and every insecure thought. That is too much pressure for any relationship to carry. Both patterns can affect communication. A person who fears intimacy may avoid difficult conversations, change the subject, become emotionally distant, or act like nothing matters. They may hide feelings because expressing them feels too exposing. A person who clings may want to talk immediately, ask repeated questions, or look for certainty before the other person is ready to respond. Both people may be trying to protect themselves, but their strategies can create misunderstanding. This is one reason relationships between these two patterns can feel confusing. The more one person reaches, the more the other person may pull away. The more one person pulls away, the more the other person may reach. This can create a cycle where both people feel unsafe. One feels pressured, the other feels abandoned. Neither person may be trying to harm the relationship, but both may be reacting from fear rather than clear understanding. Fear of intimacy can also show up as emotional testing. A person may keep distance to see whether the other person will chase them. They may act uninterested to avoid looking vulnerable. They may focus on small imperfections in the other person as a reason to stay guarded. These behaviors can feel protective in the moment, but they can prevent a real relationship from forming. It is hard to build trust when one person is always preparing to escape. Clinging can also show up as emotional testing. A person may ask the same question many times, check whether the other person still cares, or become upset when reassurance does not come quickly. Again, this is usually not because the person wants conflict. It is because uncertainty feels difficult to tolerate. But repeated testing can make the other person feel tired or mistrusted. Over time, this can weaken the very connection the person is trying to protect. A healthy relationship needs both closeness and space. Too much distance can make a relationship feel cold. Too much pressure can make it feel overwhelming. Secure connection grows when both people can be emotionally present without losing themselves. That means being able to say, I care about you, and also, I need some time. It means being able to ask for reassurance without demanding constant proof. It means allowing closeness to grow gradually instead of forcing it or running from it. Self-awareness is one of the first steps toward changing these patterns. If you tend to fear intimacy, it helps to ask, what exactly feels unsafe about closeness? Do I fear being controlled, rejected, judged, or disappointed? Do I pull away because something is truly wrong, or because being known feels uncomfortable? These questions are not meant to shame you. They help you separate real problems from old protective habits. If you tend to cling, it helps to ask different questions. What am I afraid will happen if the other person needs space? Am I asking for healthy support, or am I trying to remove all uncertainty? Do I believe I am still valuable even when someone is busy, quiet, or not immediately available? These questions can help you understand the fear beneath the behavior. When the fear becomes clearer, it becomes easier to respond calmly. Boundaries are important for both patterns. For someone who fears intimacy, boundaries can make closeness feel safer. You do not have to share everything at once. You do not have to move faster than you are ready for. You can build trust step by step. For someone who clings, boundaries can help create emotional stability. Another person's need for space does not always mean rejection. Healthy space can exist inside healthy love. Communication is also essential. A person who pulls away can practice saying, I need a little time, but I am not disappearing. A person who feels anxious can practice saying, I am feeling insecure, and I need a calm conversation. These simple statements can reduce confusion. They help both people understand what is happening without turning the relationship into a battle. It is also important to choose people who respond to vulnerability with respect. Growth is easier when a relationship is emotionally safe. If someone mocks your feelings, ignores your boundaries, or uses your insecurity against you, that is not a healthy place to practice closeness. Healthy love does not demand perfection, but it does require basic respect, honesty, and care. In the end, fearing intimacy and clinging are not signs that someone is incapable of love. They are signs that connection can feel complicated. Some people protect themselves by moving away. Others protect themselves by holding on tightly. But both patterns can become healthier with awareness, patience, and practice. Real love is not built by chasing or escaping. It is built by learning how to stay connected without losing yourself. It is built by understanding your fears instead of letting them lead every choice. And it begins when you can ask yourself honestly, am I reacting to this person, or am I reacting to an old fear that still needs care? Thank you for watching Love for Beginners. Every relationship starts with understanding, both ourselves and the people around us. If you want to explore more topics like this, support the channel by subscribing and leaving a like. Until next time.